So this is episode 6 of me reading my diaries from when I was 13 years old in 1989. Let's dig in. We have Wednesday, February 15th, 1989 at 9:41 p.m. Should be noted, I started abbreviating. I guess I did that fairly early on. All right. Well, I thought that I used to write out the names and everything, but I abbreviated it instead. So I just now got finished writing a letter to Miss Grimes about Stephen. I hope it helps. He wasn't at school today. I was so worried. I thought maybe he had CS because of yesterday. I hope not. He's probably got the flu or something. I'll find out for sure tomorrow. I love him. Shauna and Jason broke up yesterday too. He broke up with her because he wanted to go with Sandra Adams. Shauna was actually kind of happy. She's going to try to go back with Jeff. I hope she does. It's the only way that she's going to be happy. Me and her are drifting apart. It's kind of sad, but I know it's inevitable. Friends come and go. I know that from experience. Christy's becoming her new best friend. Carrie and Lori are mine, and sometimes Angel and Sherry. That's life in the fast lanes of the 80s. That's life in the fast lanes of the 80s. So Miss Grimes was our PE coach. She was also our health teacher, and she was a lesbian. I didn't really, I mean, we kind of knew there was like Coach Grimes and Coach Gorley, who I mentioned Coach Gorley in an earlier entry, I think. And there was one other one. I can't remember. They were always hanging out together. They were jocks, not feminine women. And oh my God, Miss Grimes, I had the biggest crush on her. She had the biggest, prettiest, sweetest eyes. I feel like I remember them being brown, but they might have been green. And she had kind of curly hair and she had this adorable smile. She was really fucking sweet. And I really felt that she cared about us. And I don't remember what the letter said. I don't even remember. I mean, I kind of remember writing a letter, but I don't remember in great detail what it would have said. Who knows? I love Stephen. He doesn't love me. I'm afraid he's going to commit suicide. I have no idea what I wrote in that letter. Um, but apparently it was important and I thought she would help. Um, I don't know why Stephen wasn't at school that day. I mean, kids miss school. It's a thing that happens, right? But of course, I had to go to the dramatic end of that. Yikes. Shauna and Jason broke up. I'm trying to remember who Jason was. I remember a Jason. There was our friend Jason, but I don't remember Shauna and Jason ever getting together. So it was some different Jason. I don't remember. I vaguely remember Jeff. Sandra Adams. I don't know who that is either. Name is not familiar to me in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I have the yearbook somewhere I could go look it up, but it doesn't really matter. It's the only way that she's going to be happy. What does that even mean? Was it because she was like going on and on about Jeff every day? I don't know. Me and her are drifting apart. It's kind of sad, but I know it's inevitable. Girls, friends one day, enemies the next day, best friends again the next day. There's roller coasters coming up. I already know because I read those entries on TikTok. Foreshadowing. What else is there? Christy's becoming her new best friend. I can't remember a Christy all because our friend group was me and Steven, his buddy Daniel. I think his name was Daniel. Daniel or David Ash. Jason. Shauna, her twin sister Sherry, Lori. Remember, Carrie was part of our friend group too. She was a ninth grader and we were eighth graders. Sandy and Angel. But really, that was it. Who was Christy? Who's this Christy person? It's a mystery and I want to solve it. Carrie and Lori are mine, and sometimes Angel and Sherry. See, I don't really remember. Shauna and I were close for most of eighth grade. And Sherry was there, but I don't remember Sherry really. I don't remember her being tight with our group. I feel like she had other friends, but I guess she must not have. And then I end with that's life in the fast lanes of the 80s. What the actual fuck? That's life in the fast lanes of the 80s. Remember when I used to write notes? I wrote a lot of notes in school because I mean, hello, who didn't? And I had all kinds of little fancy ways of folding them, so that they would be teeny tiny and could just like be in the palm of your hand so teachers didn't see it, and so they could be thrown across the room. But I always had to have some catchy ending to my notes. And I used that's life in the fast lanes a lot because, I knew what life in the fast lanes was like when I was 13 living in Missouri. Whew, life moves by pretty fast, pass you by if you don't stop and look around once in a while. You know what Ferris Bueller said? Something like that. Um, Not really much to dig into in this entry today. It's just interesting to me that I wrote a letter to Miss Grimes. Gosh, if we were teenagers, she was probably in her mid to late 20s. She wasn't old. So she'd be in her 50s, maybe early 60s now. I don't remember her first name. Love to know where she ended up, if she was actually a lesbian. I mean, we were pretty sure. I mean, I don't think Coach Grimes and Coach Gorley were together, but they were definitely friends. And I mean, if you think about it, being gay in the Midwest in the 80s, there weren't any gay bars in town for sure. For sure. They would have had to go to Kansas City for that. I can't even think anywhere else close by that they would have to go for a gay bar. I mean, it's not the type of thing I would have known about as a kid, but Garden City, and I mean, I don't even know that she lived in Garden City. Who knows where she lived? I do know one of my teachers, Mr. Webb, he lived in Peculiar. He used to call it Peculiar, which I thought was hilarious. He was my favorite teacher. It was so funny. But other than that, I don't know where any of the teachers live. I mean, that's not really the kind of thing you know about your teachers, unless you're a crazy kid like I was in the fourth grade. I mean, in the fourth grade, you could go on into the phone book and, just look people up, and the white pages. Do you even know what? I mean, if you're my friend, you know what the white pages are, but anybody coming afterwards, y'all ever heard of that? It's like a phone book. Literally, you could open it up. It was about this thick. I mean, depending on where you lived, here in Jacksonville, it's pretty thick, and you looked up people's telephone numbers. They were actually published in a big book each year. How crazy is that? How completely bonkers. And I suppose I could look them up on the internet, you know, and I've got a yearbook with the first names. I mean, that's the crazy kind of stalker I am. But anyways, brought up phone books because in fourth grade, Stephanie and I looked up our fourth grade teacher, Mr. Meeks, and we had his exact address, but he was our favorite teacher. So it's not like we were gonna, do anything, except like go hang out and say hi, whatever. I don't know, whatever little kids do when they want to go visit their teacher. I always liked my teachers. I really liked school for the most part. Um, well, no need to really stretch this entry out. I know there's a lot of turmoil coming up in upcoming chapters. Next entry is a short one. Next one after that is, I guess our next few entries are a couple pages, but they're definitely things to dig into. This one just didn't really have a lot of substance. So you get a light episode. How about that? We'll get deep in the coming days for sure. Thanks for hanging. I should really have a script or something. Not that it would help, because it's just my mouth doesn't work. I was trying to say thanks for hanging out. I appreciate y'all being here. Appreciate your support. It means so much to me to have you with me on this journey down memory lane, however you got here, whenever you got here. Today is December 12th of 2022. It's 11:58 p.m. And I think I'm going to call it an early night. Or maybe I'll turn around and record the next one. That sounds like a really good plan.